I was a bit surprised when I heard about this yesterday. Why the Arctic and not the equator? One could come up with a number of places in the world where oil and gas production must be banned. This proposal has no other motivation than politics. We need to pose the question, do global consumers require gas, given the sustainable development goals that have been set by the UN? Out of the current 4.2 trillion cubic meters of gas produced, about 1 trillion cubic meters is the market. 1 trillion is exported to the international market, to countries that do not produce their own gas and have to import it. The statements you have mentioned mean that the lion's share of that trillion has to disappear, must not be produced with no investment into new projects, into gas production. Secondly, we need to understand what the people who come up with such ideas understand by the Arctic. When we talk about northern polar territories in Russia, we don't refer just to the territory beyond or above the Arctic Circle, but those regions south of the Arctic Circle that have very harsh climate conditions. 90% of all our production comes from the Arctic regions of Russia. We have been extracting oil and gas there for decades, using cutting-edge technologies, including the most environmentally friendly methods. What do these statements tell us? That we need to stop extracting the entire gas produced at the moment? I think that the authors of these proposals have very little understanding of the real state of affairs.
So 10% of your GDP comes from the Arctic, and that's just not oil and gas, that's everything, including fisheries and else. Also, 20% of your exports come from the Arctic. If they were to pass legislation like this, what would that mean for Russia? Catastrophe?
Why should we even discuss this if everything they say has nothing to do with real life? There are many people living in the Arctic zone of Russia. There are many settlements and communities that inhabit these regions. We generate power to support their activities. What should we deduce from such statements? That we need to put an end to all human activities, to habitation in these regions altogether. Arctic zones exist in other countries too, not just in Russia, but other European countries. Alaska in the US, Canada. We don't understand the point of making such statements. The media, in my view, overreact when they hear these proposals and give them way too much coverage.